It's 1715, the Golden Age of Piracy, and you're standing on a sun-scorched beach in the Bahamas, the Caribbean wind tugging at your tattered shirt. Around you lies a shipwreck, splintered timbers, tangled ropes, and the promise of freedom. You're not just a castaway, you're a pirate, one of thousands who ruled the seas from 1650 to 1720, a time when men like Blackbeard and Bonny turned the ocean into their playground. With nothing but your wits, a few tools, and a crew of rough men and women, you're about to build a sloop from scratch to chase treasure and outrun the Royal Navy. This is what it was really like to construct and sail a pirate ship in the untamed waters of the 18th century. Hey, quick note before we dive in. If you love these deep dives into history, hit that subscribe button. It really helps keep the channel going. I'm always curious where you're watching from, so drop your city and time in the comments. All right, settle in. Grab a blanket, get comfy. We're heading to the high seas tonight, and this one's worth the ride. Your eyes squint against the glare of the tropical sun. The year is 1715, and you're on New Providence, a lawless pirate haven. The air smells of salt, rotting fish, and opportunity. The wreck before you, a merchant vessel smashed by a reef, offers the raw materials for your new ship. Without it, you're stuck here, easy prey for naval patrols or rival crews. You have maybe 2 weeks before the next storm rolls in, or the governor's men sniff you out. Build a ship, sail it, survive, or end up in chains, or worse. Here's how you, a pirate of the Golden Age, make it happen. The beach is chaos. Barrels, broken planks, and sodden sails litter the sand. Your crew, a ragtag bunch of 20 deserters, ex-slaves, and sailors, waits for your lead. You're no captain yet, but you've sailed enough to know a sloop is your best bet. Fast, nimble, and perfect for hit-and-run raids. A sloop is about 60 feet long, single-masted, with room for a dozen cannons and a crew of 50. It's not the massive galleons of the Spanish treasure fleets, but ideal for weaving through shallow reefs where Navy ships can't follow. I found a journal from a pirate named Samuel Bellamy in the archives of the Maritime Museum in London. He wrote, "A sloop is a pirate's lifeblood, swift as a shark, sturdy as oak. Build it wrong, and the sea claims you. Build it right, and you claim the sea." That's your goal. You grab your possibles bag, a leather satchel with essentials, a knife, flint and steel, a small hatchet, and a coil of hemp rope. Your crew's tools are scavenged, axes, adzes, and a rusty saw from the wreck. You've got no shipyard, no blueprints, just the knowledge in your head and the muscle in your arms. The first step is assessing the wreck. You wade into the surf, the water warm but treacherous with jagged timbers. The ship's hull is cracked but salvageable. Oak planks, some still nailed together, and a keel that's mostly intact. The masts are gone, snapped by the storm, but the spars and rigging are tangled in the shallows. A maritime historian I spoke with explained that pirates rarely built ships from scratch. They salvaged wrecks or captured vessels, adapting them to their needs. You're doing both, using the wreck's bones to craft a new sloop. You mark the best timbers, straight, unrotted planks for the hull and deck. The keel, the ship's spine, is your foundation. It's a massive beam, 50 feet long, still solid despite the crash. Your crew drags it onto the beach, using ropes and sheer grit. It's back-breaking work under the blazing sun, and sweat stings your eyes. You sketch a rough plan in the sand with a stick. A narrow hull for speed, a shallow draft for reefs, and a single mast for maneuverability. Every decision matters. A ship too heavy won't outrun a frigate. Too light, and it'll splinter in a storm. You assign tasks. Some men cut timber from nearby pines for new planks. Others strip the wreck for nails and fittings. I read in a 1718 shipwright's log that pirates valued speed above all. A slow ship is a dead ship, it said. You feel that truth in your bones as you work. Dawn breaks, and the beach is already alive with activity. Your crew's hands are blistered, their faces sunburned, but there's no rest. The tide's coming in, threatening to wash away your salvaged timber. You start with the keel, leveling it on a bed of packed sand and logs to keep it steady. This is your ship's backbone. Get it wrong, and the whole vessel will twist under the sea's pressure. You and your strongest mate, a former slave named Jonas with arms like iron, use axes to shape the keel's ends, tapering them for hydrodynamics. The wood chips fly, and the rhythmic thwack of axes echoes across the beach. Next, you need ribs, curved timbers called frames, to form the hull's skeleton. The wreck's planks are too flat, so you send a team into the jungle to fell pines. I interviewed a shipbuilding expert who said pirate sloops often used green wood, unseasoned, because time was the enemy. It made ships heavier, but faster to build. By midday, your crew hauls back a dozen pine logs, each 20 feet long and a foot thick. Using adzes, tools with curved blades, you shape them into curved frames, a process called dubbing. Your hands ache, blisters splitting, but you keep swinging. Each frame must be identical, or the hull won't hold. You notch the frames to fit the keel, securing them with salvaged iron nails and wooden pegs called tree nails. A pirate's account from 1716 noted, "Tree nails hold better than iron in salt water. Rust never sleeps." You hammer them in, your arms burning with each strike. The sun climbs higher, and the heat is brutal. You pause to drink from a barrel of rainwater, sharing it with the crew. Food is scarce, just hardtack and dried fish from the wreck. You chew slowly, knowing every calorie counts. I found a letter from a pirate quartermaster that said, "Hunger sharpens a man's axe, but dulls his patience." You see it in your crew's eyes. Grumbling starts, but the promise of plunder keeps them working. By dusk, the whole skeleton is taking shape. The keel, with 6 frames lashed in place, curving upward like ribs. It's not pretty, but it's functional. You cover the work with sailcloth to protect it from the night's dew and collapse by a fire, the crew singing shanties to lift spirits. Sleep comes fast, but it's restless. Your mind races with tomorrow's tasks, and the distant boom of surf reminds you the sea waits for no one. You wake to the squawk of gulls and the stench of low tide. The hull's frames stand like a giant fishbone against the dawn sky. Today, you'll plank the hull, covering the frames with wood to make it watertight. This is where pirate ingenuity shines. You select the best salvaged planks, oak, weathered but strong, and cut new ones from pine for gaps. Each plank must be steamed to bend it to the hull's curve, a trick you learned from a shipwright in Tortuga. You build a fire, piling green wood to create steam, and rig a canvas tent to trap it. The planks soften in the heat, and you and Jonas bend them carefully, nailing them to the frames. The work is slow. Each plank must overlap the one below, like shingles, to shed water. I spoke with a nautical archaeologist who studied pirate wrecks off Nassau. She said, pirates were masters of improvisation. They'd use anything, barrel staves, driftwood, if it kept the ship afloat. Between planks, you stuff oakum, tar-soaked hemp fibers, to seal gaps. You pound it in with a caulking mallet, the repetitive thump mixing with the crew's curses as their hands bleed. Tar from the wreck's stores is melted and smeared over the seams, creating a waterproof barrier. By noon, half the hull is planked, and it's starting to look like a ship. The crew's mood lifts. Someone cracks a joke about naming her Freedom's Blade. You laugh, but the name sticks. A sudden shout interrupts the work. A lookout spots sails on the horizon, a Navy patrol, maybe a day away. Panic ripples through the crew. You climb a dune, squinting through a salvaged spyglass. It's a frigate, too far to confirm, but time is now your enemy. I read in Blackbeard's log that he once rebuilt a sloop in 6 days to escape a blockade. "The sea gives no quarter," he wrote. You feel that pressure now. You double the pace, skipping a proper meal for hardtack crumbs. By dusk, the hull is fully planked, but the tar is still tacky. You light fires to dry it faster, the crew working by flickering light. Exhaustion pulls at you, but the distant sails keep you moving. You sleep in shifts, one eye on the horizon, dreaming of open water and the freedom it promises. The frigate's sails are closer now, maybe 12 hours away. You wake with sand in your mouth and fear in your gut. Today you'll build the deck and raise the mast. The deck comes first, using salvaged planks nailed across the hull's top frames. You cut a hatch for the hold, where loot and supplies will go, and a small cabin for yourself. It's crude, no polished cabins like a Navy ship, but it'll do. The mast is the real challenge. You need a single, straight pine, at least 50 feet tall, to carry the sloop's sails. Your crew fells a massive tree in the jungle, stripping its branches with axes. Dragging it to the beach takes all 20 men, using ropes and rollers made from logs. I interviewed a sailing historian who said pirate masts were often jury-rigged, hastily set, but functional. You feel that haste now, as you dig a hole in the hull's center, reinforcing it with spare planks to hold the mast's base. Raising the mast is a dance with disaster. You tie ropes to its top, looping them over a makeshift A-frame of lashed logs. The crew pulls, chanting a shanty to keep rhythm, while you guide the base into the hole. The mast sways, threatening to topple and crush someone. "Steady!" you shout, heart pounding. With a final heave, it slots into place, secured with wedges and tarred rope. Cheers erupt. Your ship is starting to live. You climb the mast to attach the yardarm, a horizontal spar for the mainsail, using salvaged rigging. The view from 50 feet up is staggering. Turquoise reefs, endless ocean, and the frigate's sails now ominously close. Night falls as you lash the last ropes, collapsing by the fire with salt-crusted lips. Sleep is fleeting, the Navy's coming, and your ship isn't ready. Dawn paints the sky blood red, a sailor's warning of storms. The frigate is 8 hours away, its hull visible now. You need sails and rigging to make Freedom's Blade seaworthy. The wreck's sails are torn but salvageable. You and a seamstress-turned-pirate named Eliza patch them with canvas scraps, stitching with bone needles and hemp thread. I found a 1717 account from a pirate crew that said, "Sails are a ship's wings. Without them, you're dead in the water." You feel that truth as you work. Rigging is next, ropes to control the sails and mast. You use hemp from the wreck, braiding new lines where needed. The process is tedious, your fingers raw from twisting fibers. You set up the mainsheet, halyards, and shrouds, ensuring the mast can handle gale-force winds. A maritime expert told me pirates often over-rigged sloops for speed, sacrificing stability. You take that risk, knowing speed is your only defense. By midday, the sails are hoisted, a square mainsail and a jib for maneuverability. The ship creaks as the wind catches, straining against the ropes anchoring it to the beach. You test the rudder, a salvaged plank hinged with iron pins. It moves stiffly, but works. The crew loads cannons, 6 small guns from the wreck, into makeshift mounts. They're not pretty, but they'll fire. The frigate is now a speck on the horizon, maybe 6 hours out. You order the crew to load supplies, barrels of water, hardtack, dried pork, and powder for the guns. There's no time for a proper launch. You dig a channel in the sand, letting the tide flood beneath the hull. With ropes and muscle, the crew pushes Freedom's blade into the surf. The ship lurches, then floats, bobbing like a cork. You're afloat, but not safe.
You're at the helm, the wheel a salvaged piece from the wreck. The crew scrambles to raise sails, the canvas snapping in the wind. Freedom's blade surges forward, cutting through the waves. You steer for a nearby reef, knowing its shallow waters will deter the deeper drafted frigate. The wind is with you, but the sky darkens. Storm clouds are gathering. I read in Bonny's trial records that she once outran a Navy ship by threading through reefs like a needle through cloth. You aim to do the same. The sloop's shallow draft lets you skim over coral, the hull grazing but holding. The frigate pursues, its cannons flashing, but the shots fall short, splashing harmlessly. Your crew cheers, but you stay focused, eyes on the horizon. The storm hits by noon, waves crashing over the deck. You lash yourself to the helm, shouting orders over the roar. "Trim the mainsail," you yell, and the crew adjusts the ropes, keeping the sloop steady. Rain blinds you, and the mast groans, but your rigging holds. I spoke with a sailor who recreated pirate voyages. He said storms were a pirate's best ally and worst enemy, hiding you from pursuit, but threatening to sink you. By dusk, the frigate is gone, lost in the storm or deterred by the reefs. You sail on, the crew exhausted but alive. You drop anchor in a hidden cove, the ship rocking gently. Around a fire on the beach, you share rum from a salvaged cask, the crew toasting Freedom's blade. I found a letter from a pirate to his brother. A ship is more than wood and rope. It's liberty. Every nail we drove was a defiance of kings and navies. The storm has passed, leaving a glassy sea. You wake on the sloop's deck, the crew sprawled around you. Today, you prepare for the pirate life ahead. You inspect the ship. The hull is tight, no leaks. The sails are patched, but strong. You organize the hold, storing food and powder safely. The cannons are cleaned and loaded, ready for a merchant ship to raid. You teach the crew basic navigation, using a chipped compass and the stars. A 1715 navigation manual I studied said pirates relied on dead reckoning, estimating position by speed and direction. You practice, plotting a course for a Spanish trade route. The crew drills with cutlasses and muskets, knowing a fight is coming. Food is a concern. The hardtack is weevil-ridden, and water is already stale. You set fishing lines and send Jonas to hunt turtles on a nearby island. I read in a pirate's journal that turtle meat was a lifeline, sweeter than beef when you've eaten naught but worms. By evening, Jonas returns with 2 turtles, their meat roasted over a fire. The crew eats greedily, spirits high. You sail south, spotting a merchant schooner on day 9. It's lightly armed, heavy with cargo. Perfect. You raise a black flag, the crew cheering. The schooner surrenders without a fight, its crew terrified by your cannons. You board, finding sugar, rum, and silver coins. The haul is modest, but a start. I found a 1719 court record of a pirate raid. They took all but our lives, yet treated us fairer than the Navy ever did. You spare the merchants, letting them sail away. It's not mercy, it's strategy. A reputation for fairness spreads, making future prey less likely to fight. You divide the loot, each man getting an equal share per pirate code. The crew sings, drunk on rum and victory. Freedom's Blade is your home now, a floating fortress built with your hands and the crew's sweat. It's not just a ship, it's your defiance of empires, your ticket to riches, or a noose. The Golden Age of Piracy was fleeting, but for now, you're free, chasing horizons with a crew bound by loyalty and greed. Unlike your cozy bed, with its soft pillows and Wi-Fi, this life is raw. Every wave, every sail, every cannon shot is a gamble. Yet there's a thrill in it, a freedom modern life can't touch. I wonder what it's like for you watching this. Do you feel the pull of adventure? Drop a comment. Could you survive as a pirate? Hit subscribe for more tales like this. Until next time, fair winds, and keep your powder dry.